Hi everybody, it's Judan. Happy 4th of July. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're tuning in. I wasn't really planning on filming a video today, but as I thought about the day and the implications of the bill passing yesterday and it being 4th of July and how it initially affected me to feel like I really didn't want to celebrate, and how I came around in my thinking, I thought it would really be a good opportunity for us to look at this through more of a spiritual lens. And you're joining me right now in my in where I conduct my magic hour every morning. This is my little sanctuary space in my dining room, and I have all of my tools to help me get ready for the day and grounded and back in my body and back in my energy. And I'd like to actually share a couple of the things that I normally do before we get into how are we really supposed to navigate a day like today in the current environment that we're in. And I think I have some things to share with you. As a matter of fact, I feel pretty confident I have some things to share with you that are going to be helpful for you. And not just today, because we're going to be feeling this way and dealing with these things for a while. But it is especially poignant today on Independence Day, when so many of us feel like our rights are being compromised and being stripped away on the daily. And so how do we respond to that, especially when we consider ourselves to be on a spiritual path? But first, as I said, I would like to go through my clearing process with you, and it might be something that you will benefit from, not just here in the moment when you're watching this, because I know you will, but also some things that you can incorporate into your daily routine as well. And I will start by saying that I do this every morning. One of the first things I do is work with my rattle and my sage and my feather, and also my pendulum board. I channel Archangel Raphael, and I'm given guidance every day about what's most important for me and how I'm to handle myself and conduct myself on the daily, which is super helpful. And then in the evening, I've learned as well that because I'm an empath and I spend kind of a lot of time out of my body, as many of you probably do as well, that it's really important to cleanse yourself before you go to bed. So it's not like you're wearing, dirty clothes to bed. You've been out there in the world, or you've been on Zoom calls, or just even watching the news or the things we've thought about through the day. It's really important to clear that off so that you can have a peaceful night's sleep and get rejuvenated so that you can face the next day. So anyhow, this is my rattle. Got this one in Peru. I do practice Andean shamanism. I'm certified in several levels, and I've taught it as well. And it is a big part of my life because it helps me on the path of self-accountability and self-awareness. And that is so, so important in these times, to just remember that I'm trying to keep myself clear so that I can help make the world more balanced and a brighter place. So the first thing I do is shake the rattle to raise the energy. And then the next thing is the sage bowl. And I have usually a mixture in here of white sage, harvested responsibly, of course, and some lavender and maybe some other herbs as well, whatever calls me. Kind of make my little brew in the morning. And then I open up the windows in the house and I walk around and I use this feather, as I said. I usually start by clearing myself all the way down my chakras, down my arms, down my legs, and just releasing everything to the mother and out into the air. Walk around clearing. I clear my bed space, clear my daughter's bed space as well from any tumultuous dreams or energy or whatever came up for us in the night. And so I just feel like I'm starting the day in a whole different way. And as I said, this is so important right now. It really gives you a leg up. And if you're not one who's used to saging, what you'll find is as you do it more routinely, that the energy shifts immediately as soon as you light it, and you can really, really feel it. You can see the smoke wafting all around me right now, so I'll just clear it a little bit. I've got some windows open, so it's carrying out any energy, and I'm reclaiming my energy to me during this, and my light to me, and releasing everybody's light and energy back to them. Anybody I've come in contact with, had thoughts about, viewed on YouTube, whatever the case may be, I'm just releasing their energy back to them and trying to stay a pure, clear vessel myself. So anyhow, that's part of my morning routine. And as I said, as you begin the practice of saging routinely, you'll feel almost an instantaneous shift in your own vibration, in your own etheric field, in the room, in the house. And you can also sage out in your yard as well. I often do that, especially I run women's circles, and we're sharing a lot of deep things and a lot of our thoughts and releasing old stories and narratives and constructs. So we really want to clear that space and, as I said, return everybody's energy and light to them with love. So that's a big part of it. And then, as I said, I also love to work with my pendulum board right here, and my pendulum as well, and I use it to attune to Raphael, and he shares very specific and detailed messages with me, and I'll be sharing some messages with you as we go forward in other videos as well. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful way to communicate with the other realm and our guides and our higher self and the angelic realm as well. So these are just a few tools, as I mentioned. And I am never without my Chihuahua cup. We have a couple of little Chihuahuas, and they're so much fun, and they're so fierce and so loving all at once. I think that's a really good role model for us, actually, right? Fierce and loving all at once. And no matter how big the problem is, because they've got big dog energy, that's what we need right now. We need that big dog energy, but to also have this loving, fun, playful side. So anyhow, to the subject at hand. Let's talk a little bit about 4th of July and how do we see it through the spiritual lens, given everything that's just happened, the bill passing, all of the executive orders that have been coming down, and where it feels like literally our rights are being stripped away on the daily. And some of us are more fortunate than others that it's not necessarily yet affecting us, but we don't feel like that day is far off where it will affect every single person in the country. And how do we navigate through that? How do we navigate through 4th of July when it feels like, oh, our flag's been stolen from us. Oh, the color red has been stolen from us. Oh, to be patriotic, you have to be everything but patriotic. It's just challenging and hard to get your bearing and get your footing in this. And as I said, I believe at the very beginning of this, that I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to barbecue. I don't want to do anything. And look at me sitting here in my Nashville t-shirt with my red, white, and blue guitars on, because I really thought it through. And I actually had this conversation with my daughter this morning. And I said, this is really a spiritual stress test. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where it's all on the table. How do we react and respond to this when we think of ourselves and regard ourselves as a spiritual being on an enlightened path? If we think that, if our true core belief is that everyone is of equal value and equal stance, and that we're all connected, and that we all carry a seed of the divine within us, no matter our personality or how we showed up in this lifetime or how dark our actions might be, but at our very core, in our Inca seed right here, near our solar plexus, if our Inca seed is that light of the divine, then how do we act gracefully towards others? Or how do we avoid saying no to a day like today? No, I'm just not going to do it because it's been taken from me. And those bad people over there are the people who've taken it from me. Well, now I guess I've joined those ranks, right? There's everything is the other. There's the me and the them, or the us and the them. And that's not in keeping with what I believe is true. If I did believe it was true, I think I'd have to stop saying that I'm on the spiritual enlightened path, because those things are contradictory to each other. So anyhow, because I do believe that, and because I really also believe that at the end of the day, and I don't know when that's going to be yet, but I don't know how long this is going to be our current situation. I wish I did. But, I think we are very close if we haven't hit rock bottom already, because now we're going to, this big, beautiful bill is going to affect everybody. And the irony of that, of course, is that as it affects people on the right who actually voted for the current administration, then their voices are going to get pretty loud. They're not a quiet group. And And so joke's really going to be on those who perpetuated this monstropolis upon us. And so in a weird, ironic way, it kind of is the big, beautiful bill, because it can be, and it should be, the beginning of the great, beautiful awakening for everybody. And from changing from this mindset of, the patriarchy and daddy needs to take care of us, and everything that's come with that. Like, we're going to stop going to the problem for the solution. We're going to look to integrate the divine feminine and caring and nurturing and caring for everyone and providing health care and food to those most in need, and certainly not shutting down remote hospitals that have been providing care to our most vulnerable people. So if I can answer yes to those two questions, and those two questions being, do I believe that light wins over darkness, and do I believe that at the core everybody carries a seed of the divine, no matter what their personality that they showed up in this lifetime? If I answer yes to that, then that dictates my next steps, right? So my next step was to put on this t-shirt and some red lipstick and to decide to have the barbecue anyhow, to light the sparkler. I'm not really going to light a sparkler, but have the hot dog, put the flag out, and take ownership back of my vision for this country. And the truth is, we've never really hit the mark, have we? There's always been the disadvantage. There's always been those on the outer perimeter who didn't enjoy the same rights as others. So we have always had work to do, whether we recognized it or not. So this is our golden opportunity. This is sacred ground that we're standing right now. And if we choose to, we can be the midwives of this beautiful new awakening. And it will take time. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of this overnight. It's just like weight gain. I've struggled with my weight on and off for years. And when I have gotten on a diet in the past or a weight loss plan, I wanted to lose that weight in a week. The faster, the better. And sometimes it took me 3 years to gain that weight. Well, it wasn't going to go in a week. And if I did do something where I could lose it more rapidly, I usually gained it back right away too. So we have to be patient, because these are going to be some baby steps to start with, and then we'll gain some momentum. Then we'll build new habits and new ways of believing and new ways of showing up for ourselves and for other people. So really, basically, the spiritual lens helps us refocus our energy and our attention, and is going to be something inclusive. Like, we're going to give grace. If we're going to a barbecue today or tonight or this weekend at some point, and we're like, ugh, drag, how are we going to face those on the other side of the aisle who are the ones to blame for our current situation? And I'm going to just invite you to give them some grace. And I don't mean that means you have to slobber all over them or dance with them. I'm saying that you're just not going to rub it in their face. We're not going to rub it in their face that they were so wrong. And we're not going to say things like, well, now that it affects you, I see that you've changed your mind. Because the truth is that we've all made mistakes in judgment and had lapses in judgment, and maybe not this grand and this obvious, but nonetheless, if we can just let these people, come to the party, get to the right side of the aisle, and use their voices and join with us collectively, we're going to move mountains, and we are going to move them not at a glacier pace. We will start to gain momentum, and we have a chance. Nobody wants to go back to the way it was. That's not our goal. That's not what this opportunity is. It's to create something so much more beautiful and sustainable and fair to everybody. And so that should be our objective, is we're reclaiming the promise of America and then some. The real promise for everyone. And that's going to take time, but it's going to be so worth it. And so, let's stay connected. Let's stay in our light. Let's work together. Let's work our practices, like what I told you about keeping clear morning and night. And also, for those of you who know Reiki, and I'm sure many of you watching know some kind of healing modality, both my daughter and I are Reiki 2 certified in Fire Reiki. I've done Healing Touch for many years, and a number of other energy modalities. But I find Reiki is just so clean and clear and quick and effective. And so I love to share it every day in the morning. That's how I start my day. It's how my daughter starts her day. And we just go through our little Reiki prayer, which is that we aren't going to be angry. We're not going to be fearful. We're going to be grateful for all of the abundance in our life and the opportunity for even more abundance in our lives going forward, and that we're going to honor all sentient beings, and that we're going to do our day's work honestly. And then we open up our third eye and we invite in our guidance and our Reiki guides and our other guides and our higher self to enlighten us and to give us downloads during the day that are going to help us move in the world in a way where we respond instead of react, where we just create that gap where we can get in touch with what we truly believe versus acting from anger or fear or frustration, and we keep ourselves clean and clear, and we help heal the world in that way. So that's really, I think, our opportunity here. And so what I'd love to do right now is actually just share. I've already activated my Reiki for the day. I've healed myself. I always put myself in a golden Reiki bubble. I work on my heart and my crown chakra, my third eye, my throat, my sacral, my solar plexus, all of it. And just cover my whole body, my hands, my feet, all my minor chakras. And I'm just sending that light energy, and it makes such a difference. I feel so infused by the end of that process. And then once I feel like I filled up myself, like the oxygen mask, then I give a couple of good solid minutes to sending it to people long distance. I use the Reiki symbol for activating for long distance healing. And I send it even to those who I feel like are in the darkest place and have the darkest hearts. And I know that it works. I know that when I do long distance Reiki for somebody in pain or who's sick, they feel better. Their pain diminishes. I worked at St. Jude Hospital doing Healing Touch. I know how energy works and how it can reduce pain from a 10 to negligible. I know all of this. I know it for a fact. I saw it with my own eyes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. So when I turn that light, I don't think, oh, this is impossible. This is too high of a mountain to climb. They're never going to see the light. But you know what? Somebody's heart is going to get changed at some point. We only got this bill through, or they only got this bill through with a tiebreaker in the Senate and 2 votes, a 2-vote majority in the House. That's not very many hearts that we have to turn, that we have to enlighten. So we do our work. It is silent, it is private, but it is powerful. Do not underestimate it. And even if you haven't studied Reiki, you are still so full of light, and you can direct that light and that healing. And it really shifts your perspective, and it takes you out of the blame game, and it takes that microphone of fear out of your hand, and it redirects it, and it feels powerful, and it feels tangible. It doesn't feel like for nothing. It feels like for something. So I really encourage you to do that. And so I would like to just take this moment right now with you to just send a minute or two in silence of healing energy and light and love and the highest and best outcome for all to our leaders, to those who are most deeply and profoundly affected right now, losing medical care, losing food, losing income, whatever the case may be, that we just send them healing. And for those on the precipice of changing their viewpoint, we send them light. And for those who have just abandoned what they thought was their truth for a higher and better truth, we send light to sustain that and encourage that to grow. So let's just kind of sit in silence for a minute or so. And I would invite you to just open yourself up to the light, pouring in through your chakras, coming out your hands, that divine golden beautiful light. And then I would encourage you to send yourself light as well. We've all been through a lot. It's been a really dark night of the soul for a long time now. And so, take time to heal yourself, to work with your own energy field, and to create these great habits of grounding yourself and releasing old stories about what's possible. Because the truth is, as we join together in light and in harmony, so much more is possible than we've ever actually experienced in our lifetimes and in lifetimes previously. We have a chance to create a whole new paradigm, and that's really empowering, and it's really beautiful. And remember what I said, this too is sacred ground. So eat the hot dog, light the sparkler, jump in the pool, have some fun, and remember who you are and remember what's possible and remember what a huge role you play in bringing that about. And before we go, I would like to actually pull a card from the Feminine Wisdom Oracle. I want to show you the box because it's so gorgeous. Look at that. And that's who we are right now. We are rising from the ashes and we're reaching for the stars and we're reaching for the moon and we're reaching for the sun. And we're tapping into that divine feminine so that we can create that balance and that harmony, the true goddess within. Harmony with the divine masculine. It's not one or the other, it's both. So I'm going to just shuffle these cards here real quickly and see what the message is for us. I have a card that I pulled earlier. I'm going to put that back in. And this is for all of us. And I hope that it, shines a light on your path today and that it's something for you to think about and contemplate. Home, safe haven and comfort zone. And that is, let me show you this card because this is so beautiful. And the creator of this deck, her name is Leah Androic, Androic. And it is a beauty. Look at that. I mean, just looking at it brings you peace and harmony. It's gorgeous. So we have card number 18 here. Let's see what the book has to say about it. And then we'll quickly relate it back to what we just talked about today. How does it marry up to this message of being in our sovereignty and being in our power, being in our truth, not letting things be taken from us, and looking towards the future, towards creating something better than has ever existed before. Home, safe haven, comfort zone, place where we are at peace. Welcome home. This is the place where you feel that you belong, the place where your inner child feels safe and secure, where you can be comfortable with who you are, physically and spiritually, and accept yourself with all your flaws and virtues. Forgive yourself and show kindness and empathy as you would to your own child. You have a loving heart, so make sure to protect it. And the affirmation is, this heart of mine, my soul and this body are my sacred sanctuary. I am choosing to shower them with love. Well, I don't think we have to look too hard to tie that to what we've been talking about here today. Nurture that inner child, nurture it with light, with love, with responding versus reacting, talking down the fear that naturally bubbles up. We wouldn't be human if right now we weren't feeling some degree of fear, some degree of anger, some degree of frustration and sadness. That's just not reality. But that doesn't mean when you're at the ophthalmologist and they go better now or now, we want to look through that spiritual lens. It's not all roses and unicorns. It's not a Pollyanna view of life. But it is a different perspective. It's a higher perspective. So I just really want to encourage you to keep that front of mind and to do things that help you keep your field and your chakras and your energy center clear and clean so that you can face these days and you can face them with strength and power and determination and most importantly, light and love. Thank you. Have a happy 4th of July and I'll see you soon.